Hey guys, Courtney here with Knowledge Well Media. It is April the 3rd, 2020. Just wanted to touch base with you a little bit here and share a little information with you, go over some of the current events that are happening around the world and definitely in our neck of the woods, a little too close for comfort. But anyways, like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to hit that button down below there so that you get notifications each time I post a new video. All right, so, well, at least the sunshine is out today, and couple things, but also just wanted to say I'm still anxious to try that Zoom app out with some of you out there. Have some friends that tune in, and it would be nice to have some new faces and new voices, new comments, new concerns, new questions, and definitely want to welcome you. So I'll make sure that I put that down below in the comment section, a link to the next Zoom meeting, which is face-to-face. I don't know if you ever tried it out before. It works out pretty cool. It switches between each of the people that are involved. Basically, you hit the link, sign up on there, and then it'll give you a notification or what have you of the time of the meeting, all right? So if you're interested in that, leave a comment down below, or you can hit me up at the Gmail, at knowledgewell, the number four, the letter U at gmail.com. That's knowledgewell4u at gmail.com. All right. So just a few things wanted to touch base with you. Was listening to, and I will put this link down in the comment section down below. You can check it out for yourself. Basically, this individual, young lady, who is involved in politics, is making the claims that the Connecticut governor had lied about the death of a 2-year-old infant, basically saying or stating that the baby died from an unfortunate event in the family home, and how the I guess the medical examiner did the post mortem and accredited the infant's death to COVID-19. But I guess as you'll see when you click on the link that the baby actually had died of other causes, but they took the occasion, I guess, to report that the baby had died of the COVID-19. All right, so like I said, I'll put that in the link, a link in the description. All right, and also, you may have been hearing lately, there's speculations that there's over 1,000 different indictments being handed down for various individuals. On this list, supposedly, there's people like the Clintons. I think there was Bill Gates on there. There's other people, but don't quote me on it. I'm just putting it out there because I have been seeing it. Other people have been reporting on it. I don't have any facts on that yet, but just putting it out there, you can do some research and digging into that yourself. So supposedly it's something along the lines of what Trump had promised, that he would be draining the swamp and going after the deep state and people who are up to no good behind closed doors, these secret societies and things like that. Again, don't quote me on it. I'm just putting it out there for you to look into. Supposedly, it is pretty being widely spread around Facebook and YouTube. So check into that. Again, over 1,000 indictments, supposedly. All right. So also, there's another speculation going on out there that the ships, I know Comfort is one of the ships that these ships that are supposed to be on each of the coasts, on the West Coast and on the East Coast. One of the ships I know is Comfort, and I can't remember the other one. But speculations that these ships, I think I was listening to, I'll see if I can put this link below as well. I was listening to JSnip. It's the letter J and then Snip, S-N-I-P. And he was talking about speculation that the ships may be to rescue the children that had been held in these slave trades and things like that. So, his interest is in the uncovering of this deep state and things like that. So in the next 2 weeks, people are speculating something is going to happen. I don't know per se, but Ironically, we did hear during this one of the speeches or a couple of the speeches that over the next 2 weeks that we could expect a huge uptick in deaths, and things are going to get significantly darker. Okay, so again, that's something you have to dig into. I'm just putting information and data out there. I'm not trying to raise any fear or fear mongering. I'm not trying to put what they call fake news out there. Hey, do your own research and digging, okay? This is just a platform to put out data, all right? And let's see. One other thing. Something to consider. I was listening to the governor of California, I believe it was, and they were talking about how bad off the state was even prior to this supposed pandemic, and how, you know, the government is swooping in to bring all this money in and basically bail out the states. Something came to mind because I've heard this from a couple states, including that article or that link I'm going to put below regarding that young lady in Connecticut reporting on the governor, and how she was saying that Connecticut, as of coming up in April or something like that, or in April, was facing some serious deficit issues, possibly leading to, I think she said, a bankruptcy type situation for Connecticut, possibly. Don't quote me again. I'm going to put the link down there. You can hear it right from the horse's mouth. But just, you know, how much trouble economically these states had already been prior to the pandemic. And now what you're seeing is a $2 trillion stimulus that was approved. You know, the quote unquote handouts that the government is now swooping in, you know, to save the day and going to pour out all this stimulus money, this $2 trillion to the states that are affected by this pandemic, right? So I don't think anyone's arguing that the deficit, our national deficit or debt, is at least $20 trillion. I think it's upwards, they report upwards of $23 trillion. But again, that doesn't include all the unfunded liabilities, the Social Security, and all the things that have to be paid to those who will be retiring, you know, so, but let's say for these intents and purposes, $20 trillion, okay? Well, how long has it taken for our nation to get to $20 trillion? All right, I'll let you dig into that and find out. We're talking in a matter of, since this stimulus bill has been approved, we're talking, and since this pandemic has arrived, we're talking about President Trump essentially hitting a button and saying $2 trillion is made and give it out to all the states. Like that. That's, if we use the number 20 trillion, okay, as far as the debt, that's 2%, or 2%, excuse me, 10% of the national debt, right? Like that, $2 trillion, okay? Where do we get that money from? If we're already 20 trillion in debt, where do we get that 2 trillion that was made like that stimulus? Well, obvious answer is from the Fed, right? They handle our money supply, our interest rates and things like that. Well, whatever you borrow from the Fed, which is a private organization, not a federal organization, you're going to owe back, right? Okay. So if the Fed is who we're borrowing from, then that means we're debtors to the Fed. Who takes care of that? You will. Your children will. And your children's children will. Okay? The debt is never going to be paid back. It can't be. So that means we'll always be in debt. If you're always in debt, that makes you a slave. Right? All right. So you get the point. But basically all of these, now check this out. Here's a little conspiracy for you. Okay? If these states, including Illinois, you know, Connecticut, California, and all these other states, if they were already in dire straits economically. In the Baltic Dry Index, that's one metric that I really pay attention to because that measures the health of the economy and trade and things like that. Okay, the BDI, the 3 ships that bring over the raw materials that we use in manufacturing here on our soil to make products to sell back out, right? If we were hardly having movement on the Baltic Dry Index since, I was looking at that since like 2016. Okay, the health of our economy, it was terrible. The job markets, we weren't getting the accurate numbers. Okay, the labor participation rate, okay, the lowest in history. I mean, they're saying some of the metrics that I'm hearing now, we're worse off now than we were during the Great Depression. Some of these numbers, okay? So we haven't been healthy in a long time. Some people say that 2008, okay, the recession was just the beginning of the depression of our economy. That's just the beginning. They were saying we were recovering. Well, isn't it obvious now? I know they took the occasion to use the pandemic, okay? But the truth eventually comes out. And I believe we're living in the truth now, okay? So just think about it. Was this just a huge rescue for each of the states of the union, or these troubled states that were about to go under, essentially? And now big government comes in, swoops in, print up $2 trillion and hand it out. We all party on it. Who cares if we're in debt up to over our heads, essentially, right? I don't know. These are just things to think about. That's all I do is just pose this information. I know some people will take the occasion to gripe and complain, and it's all fear mongering and it's all conspiracy and all. Well, I've been doing this for at least 4 or 5 years. Okay, I've been putting this stuff out there. Go look back in my archives, okay, and you'll see that I've been putting this stuff out here. So some of that stuff is starting to come true that I've been talking about. So you can't just chalk everything up to conspiracy. All right, check it out for yourself. But anyways, and for another thing, if you're not personally sitting there with a pencil, a pad of paper, and a good book or something like that, then you're really not researching. If you're just taking what the social media platforms and what the mainstream media is putting out there, you are not actively researching. You're just taking what they're spoon feeding you. You're being television programmed. Okay? So if you are not doing your own due diligence and your own research, then you really don't have anything to bring to a platform like this. How can you refute anything if you're not studying anything? Studying is not watching TV. That's television programming. You're being programmed. Okay? As I stated before, the people who are running these broadcasting stations, they have a boss, and their boss has a boss. All right? Think about that. Anyways, I'm making this too long already. All right, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you're interested in that Zoom meeting, I'll look down in the description down below. I'll put the next meeting where you can just click the link and get on in, and we can have a great discussion together. Make sure you share this. It's important that we stick together. All right? Don't forget, informed conclusions are drawn from here. Knowledge will. Courtney, signing out.